Is it her uncle or
Her
her
dad, yeah, basically makes her fur coat
Like,
out of rabbits that they trapped themselves. So, yeah.
I need to know if that was real. So then she has these rabbit pelts that are like half stitched together, and she's like, "I have a fur coat. Like,
Yeah.
good, I fit in now." And they were like, "No, not like that." Like, hey, I'm Kit,
And I'm Cade,
and we're real people.
doing real reviews.
We are continuing our season 3 stories that stick in the theme of a real story,
Yeah.
true story.
True story.
This was Cade's pick. The
Yes.
go around. What did you choose?
Well, I think I pulled a U in this one.
Mm,
This is a true story, but the
mm,
movie took some liberties.
yes.
Yes.
What
So I chose,
cinematic appeal?
yes, Tanya, which is a take on a true story.
It is take.
Yes. So I chose this film obviously because I think growing up, I distinctly remember
This happening.
this happening, the rivalry.
The
I
media.
remember the media was all over it. I remember watching ice skating during the Olympics. Like, it became a whole thing.
You did, and don't act like you didn't sit with your grandma and watch the couples ice skating and hold your breath, because I did.
As they're whipping people around. Yeah.
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 Hmm.
So I remember all that. I remember that she was the first to hit whatever the quadruple, whatever axle jump thing, whatever we call it.
Triple axel.
Triple,
Mm-hmm.
quad.
You think it was a quad?
I don't know.
I think it was. I think she was the first to triple. Because it was the outside skate. Because they talked about each of the turns on how you had to land on your blade, I believe.
Anyway, so I chose this because it was a true story from that standpoint.
Yeah.
Do I believe that this movie depicts a factual, true story of what happened? No.
Is
However,
so good.
it is so good.
Yes.
Such a good movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, to sit and watch.
Can we talk about like just how it's filmed? Like, because we were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, what's so fun about this movie, and we talked about this at length because first of all, when I think of really good acting,
Mhm.
um, and you're like, who is a really great actor or actress and why? Like, I always think of Margot Robbie as Tanya because if you've ever observed Margot Robbie in interviews, on carpets, and things like that, she is lovely, graceful. Her voice is not this kind of,
Raspy.
yeah, trashy, kind of rednecky version of her. She's like fit, which is not like the way that they depict her athleticism and her physique. There's so much in this that you're like, who is that person? There is no Margot Robbie that
Oh, it's
exists in
Tanya.
Tanya. Yes.
Tonya Harding.
Yes. She depicts her amazingly. And there is all of these stills and side by sides of like how she, like Margot is doing her performances that we're seeing on public TV. She's just nailing it as like an actor. And I just think I respect Margot so much from this movie because I just think how few actors could accomplish this. I just thought it was incredibly difficult to do. So there's that. The way that the movie is filmed is all kinds of directions. So you see them acting in a scene just as you're normally watching a movie,
Yeah.
and then you see them doing interviews, like talking head type interviews, as if there's a documentary being done with it
Right.
as
So
well.
they're like
Hmm.
reliving it like this is like a past event and this is factual information that you're watching,
Yeah.
which is hilarious because it's not.
No.
But they video it in that kind of way with like the date and timestamp on the video that's like, from your VCR at the time, kind of, set there. They break the fourth wall and they're like acting in the scene and then they talk to you as the audience.
Yeah, they do.
Mm.
Yeah, they'll do like a version of like the media will tell you this, but we'll do this. They did fake
Yeah.
interviews with people who would have been people that you would have never thought to hear from
Yeah.
interviewing Tanya, like they
Well, yeah, and that was the interesting part too was because they used, like, dialogue or, people kinda moderating the story
Mhm,
that, to your point,
mhm.
you wouldn't even be listening to or we've even heard their story, but their take on this story,
Yeah.
which made it interesting.
So they'd be, like,
Yeah.
interviewing, like, a paparazzi person, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, I used to get her truck towed because it was hard to get pictures of her near the end." Like, just you're like, "Did that what?"
Yeah, I mean, it blurred the line for sure. I think it also played on the fact that, like, this was kind of the first story in media where the media actually controlled the narrative.
It very much did, and you have to remember this was before, like, social media in that way, It wasn't, something where, for instance, if there was a negative connotation around myself in the media, I could go on to an Instagram live. I can talk to the audience. I could do some posts. I have some control. Then you had your news, you had paper, you had the media, you had tabloids. Like that was how you got your information. And so them having a controlled narrative, they really did have a controlled narrative, which was fascinating. And so, yeah, what made you choose this one, for kind of because I know we were going to do a team, but why did you want to do sports? And then for Tanya, like what?
I think for this one, obviously the true story around it, as well as,
Hmm.
it is still something that I remember more as like the experience of it
Hmm.
happening, not necessarily obviously watching this movie later in life didn't really impact me
Hmm.
from a standpoint that this movie impacted me. It was the story of
Hmm.
Tanya
Yeah.
that I do distinctly remember. You know, as we mentioned in your movie, obviously Invictus is a movie that impacted me because it was the movie and it was the first time I was hearing the story. I think
Mm.
growing up, I heard the story of Tanya because I was like living it as a child. We watched it on TV.
Mm.
So this was like an interpretation of that.
Yeah.
And I think that they did it very well.
And I think it still stood because even though as we unpacked it, like if you think of Tonya and Nancy Kerrigan and their rivalry, you're like, "Oh, I know about it." Like, you have this feeling of like, "No, I know about
Yeah,
it," because even if you don't know anything because of how the media portrayed it.
for sure.
Tell us a little bit about obviously, that we talked about how it's filmed, but about the plot and, like, how
Yeah,
it did it.
so obviously, she's Tanya is, like her family, like her parents aren't getting along.
Mhm,
And basically, in the film, it shows her father's being pushed out by her mom,
mhm,
and he doesn't want to leave, but he ends up leaving.
mhm,
And Tanya, all she wants to do is skate, so they put her in skating, and that's what she's gonna do.
mhm,
Nothing else. That is, you know, that's her show pony kind
mhm,
of activity. And like fighting with that throughout the whole kind of thing. And, I think that on top of that story, the two other kind of themes that kind of bubble up through the movie is perception and kind of how, the same as in Moneyball,
mhm,
people looking, are they pretty? Do they fit in? This is definitely a story where Tanya was an outsider from the get go
mhm,
and how she had to work hard and train. And even though she was, and some people do consider her to be one of the best, she was never recognized for it because she just didn't fit in.
mhm. Yeah, there
Yeah.
was an element of expectation for elegance and maybe class that was in this sport. And so to have somebody who had like true athletic ability, a lot of strength in her athleticism, first one to attempt a triple axel in
Yeah.
competition, like a tremendous skater, that because she didn't um, have the vibe that they were hopeful for when they think
Yeah.
about this kind of athlete, that it rubbed them the wrong way. And it was even as like small as when she's like bantam, like she's like coming up through the ring, she's a teenager, and they're like, you don't have a fur coat, like you need a fur coat. So then her is it her uncle or
Her
her dad?
dad, yeah, basically makes her a fur coat
Like
out of rabbits that they trap themselves. So, yeah.
I need to know if that was real. So then she has these rabbit pelts that are, like, half stitched together, and she's like, "I have a fur coat, like,
Yeah.
good, I fit in now." And they were like, "No, not like that."
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was, really interesting because I don't play the sport, and, even though we're here in Canada and, we
It's called
I
ice do you ice skate?
ice skating, yeah, ice skating, yeah. Yeah,
I guess it's just called skating.
yeah, skating, yeah, because rollerblading is we call rollerblading not road skating,
I think
yeah,
that just shows I'm from Texas, so I call it ice skating
ice
because we skate on rollerblades.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we just skate. Yeah.
Just skate here means ice skating.
It's cold
Yeah.
out, so you have to find ways
Yeah.
to get kids to go outside, so you make up sports.
Also, fun fact, in Texas,
You should let other people know that it or tell
well,
it's okay, go ahead.
I'm embarrassed to say this, but
What?
we call toques or beanies toboggans. We don't have to discuss it. I know that's wrong. I know
Like a
that's wrong,
sled?
everyone.
You call it toboggan.
Yeah, we call it toboggan a hat because we don't have toboggans that you sled on because we don't have snow most of the time. I know. Anyways, we digress. The second theme throughout the movie, back to I, Tanya. I'm just going to drop that little tidbit there, let her ponder that one, is the physical and emotional abuse that happens
Yeah.
throughout the movie and how I think that also adds to her isolation. You know, I mean, do I dare compare Tanya to Brittany
Hmm.
in
Yeah.
terms of like being really good at what they do in their craft, but being so isolated that it makes them a bit,
Susceptible to corruption
yeah,
and yeah, violence. And so the way that it's depicted is it grows with her mother. So when she's younger, she's
yeah,
getting obviously the it's a strict regimen, and if you've ever done ballet or you've done some of the other things, it's a strict regimen, so you feel very like you perform or you're failing, right?
yeah,
And so when you're doing a sport, that's part of it, but then at home, the mother would be like, "Oh, you skated like a lumberjack, you're awful," and she's, like, brushing her hair, and she, like, hits her with a hairbrush, and the physical violence starts to climb and grow,
yeah,
based on performance, and then sometimes for no reason at all. The mother character is so well acted that it is comical because
yeah,
you're looking at this person who is, a single mom that's working at a diner that, has these crazy high expectations on her daughter that she has barely any relationship with, doesn't say I love you, doesn't hug, like, it's
yeah,
very bizarre, and then she's quite violent, so then and we'd kinda discussed this, too, when we were watching it, that so then Tanya grows up in this world where, the people who love you the most yell at you, or physically
hit you,
violent, like,
yeah,
yeah, like, expect you to do well or nothing at all. So then there's a boy that's at the rink, and, when she's a teenager, and of course, like, where else is she gonna really meet anybody? It's for dating. Like,
yeah,
she's, like, on the ice for the majority of the day and then just eat, train, sleep, repeat. And so this boy and her kind of, start a rapport or sort of relationship. And as he asks her to marry him quite young,
yeah,
and as it grows, and he becomes quite physically and emotionally abusive, and so if you are, yeah, I guess, like, as a like, if you've never seen it, but, they really do depict it in a very quite realistic way, like, what
yeah,
that domestic violent scenario would be like, and I kept looking at, a Cullen, I was like, "Why do you think that where's her, like, what she doesn't have one girlfriend that's, like, her skating buddy?" And the only and it was true, like, the way that they kinda showed her, like, lifestyle was because she didn't fit into, like, this elite, elegant, like, perspective, then she didn't really gain the girlfriends on the rink, and because she was a threat as an athlete, her thought process around being seen in that way or developing a relationship based on her performance, it wasn't there because she actually was like, it's competitive, and then yeah, and then she wasn't in school at a certain point. She was at school for a while until she couldn't keep it up with training, and then, here she was, so she was very, very alone, and then when it came in with her, um, yeah, her relationship with this guy, she met his one friend, and then was training and there wasn't anyone else to go to and then didn't have the relationship as well with the um yeah, with the
So
parent.
yeah, so she
Mhm.
didn't really have
Anyone.
positive role models anywhere because she was so focused on
Mhm.
training and becoming the best skater. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
So
when
which made her personal life suffer quite significantly.
yeah, and even when the mother would see bruises, marks, scrapes on her from the marriage, she was like, "Well, I told you he was an idiot." Like, she didn't really help. Yeah.
Well, I mean, she was a part of it too, but
Yes.
yeah.
There was that point too that Tanya had left the relationship, and then as she was moving forward towards the Olympics, they were like, "We really like the narrative of like a happy family life," and so she re-entered into the marriage for the public to be loved more, to be received more, and to be cared for more. Which how awful, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which also plays into that because she was trying to fit into that mold to get the respect for her career of what she can do,
Mm-hmm.
that they wanted the other bright and shiny things outside of skating.
Yeah, they were definitely did.
Yeah.
Do you wanna, I guess, like as you're kind of watching this perspective, so the friend of this man that she's married to, is, um is realizing, like, that there's an impact or a me
Yeah.
he's a ridiculous character. He pretends that he's, like, involved with all of these, like, societies and secret things, and he's just
Yeah.
making it up. He just lives at home with his parents and eats Eggos and
Yeah.
just, is ridiculous, but he realizes that you could really knock an athlete off of their game by doing a death threat or doing a thing, and so, the biggest competitor to Tonya at the time was Nancy Kerrigan, and
Yes.
the proposal was like, what if she got a death threat? Maybe she'd feel, like, nervous and be knocked off
Shit.
her game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which I think spun that because in the beginning, Tanya's mom would pay somebody to like start a fight with Tanya because if Tanya was riled up,
She'd perform it.
she would perform better.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh my god, I feel like that was me too."
Yeah, like, if somebody was, like,
Yeah.
heckling you or was
Yeah,
like
like,
yeah,
right
if we
beforehand, I did. Yeah,
y
totally perform better.
really?
Yeah.
Rage performance. That's what that is. And, okay.
We'll leave that there.
That's,
Yeah, so obviously they they decide that this is gonna be the case, and then they take it one step further,
mhm,
and obviously they bash her legs with a baseball bat,
mhm. Yeah,
and then it kinda spirals
yeah.
from there to the ending.
Yeah, and so what you're trying to figure out is did Tanya know that there was going to be a physical assault on Nancy Kerrigan?
Yeah,
No, she did not. She knew that they were thinking about messing with her, heckling her, or like maybe doing something in some way, but she was like, That happens to me all the time. Like, who cares?" Like, almost
right.
didn't pay it a second thought, but then I think didn't realize that it was going to get to the degree that it did. And then because Nancy was all of the things that they loved, she was a
Yeah,
darling in the skating world, very lovely family, very much princess, like kind of just like very elegant. That to have something physically happen to her body was like really, really extreme. And
but I also think
mhm,
that too, like, this is all the interpretation too of the tabloids.
mm,
I mean, they're just competitors. They could be actually really good friends, and
yep,
we don't know. It's just the way that the media at the time
yeah,
spun it that she didn't like Nancy because,
hmm,
Tanya was doing all of these things,
yeah,
but Nancy was getting the scores.
yeah,
I mean, literally, that's all like we're just going off of what the tabloids and everything's telling us
yeah.
between the two. So we really don't know
If
in the end
yeah,
if they were really friends,
mm,
were they girlfriends? Could they be secret lovers?
yeah.
We don't know.
Because we know that they traveled together with the US, like,
Yeah.
team, and they even depicted in the movie that they're like, Tanya liked competition, right? So it'd be hard to not like somebody who you feel like is keeping up to you when you're like, that's who I'm
Yeah.
winning against, when that's what you thrive off of is that type of chaos. So I totally agree with you. And then as the film kind of continues that it's all revealed, what's awful is that they go to really make an example out of Tanya at the
Yeah.
end.
Which
And
is true.
so the media firestorm then banned her from, like, skating in any professional, like, way, And so imagine like you left school in like elementary, so you could train, like no education, no anything. And so
Mm.
you,
Well, I mean, she has no other options. Like, basically, that
mhm,
was her life,
yeah,
was skating.
yeah. And those,
Took
yeah.
it away.
And they took it, which was bizarre because all of the other people who actually physically assaulted somebody went to prison for, 16 to 18 months and then they just got to live their lives and everything was normal. But then for Tanya, like she's,
Never able to skate again.
which I mean, was
Seems
what
a
the
little
bus
harsh.
call. Yeah, it really felt like that was a judge leaning into the media firestorm and, um, to have somebody who's like, basically potentially had gotten in the way of arbitration
Mhm.
eh, to have a more severe sentence in our opinion than the rest of everybody. It seemed super unfair. And
And
um,
she picks up women's boxing.
she's like, I am one of the most hated people on the planet. And she leaned into it so she could pay the bills.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, we see that all the time with other kind of famous people
Hmm.
leaning into popularity and media and doing things,
Totally.
you know,
Hmm.
Anna Delvey and Dancing with the Stars and
Yeah. Yeah. Dancing with those are great examples too, or like taking celebrity reality TV shows and taking them from something else and moving them in so you can continue to use them. I'll use that term, to use
yeah,
them for, their fame. And yeah, it's like fascinating. I feel like it was interesting to go because she was a solo skater. So then to go into fighting, which again, it's solo, but like then it's high contact. Like that's not, you know what I mean? The same athleticism at all. Like, but to use it and just, it makes me really kind of sad. It feels like an out of options option.
yeah,
And I don't know much about the story after or like what happened with her, but it was a really fun movie to watch for sure, because
yeah,
I just thought they did a cool job of telling the story from different angles, from different perspectives, and bring you into, like, the silliness of some of the media and some of the severity of the media,
Mhm.
how awful her home life was, what can happen with domestic violence. It was harsh to watch, but they did it in a palatable way, so you weren't turning away from the screen when you were watching it.
That's true.
They
Yeah,
were doing it in a way that you could receive that she was experiencing this and, like, mentally, it continued to make her more and more tough,
yeah.
and so yeah, mhm, yeah,
It's also interesting too, just in the sense that they used comedy a bit
mhm,
in those harsh scenes to make it more palatable
yep, mhm.
between all of it.
Yeah, there's a scene where the mom's, like, throwing things at her from the table and then throws a knife, like, isn't looking and throws a knife and it sticks, and Tony gets up, says something, and then, like, takes the knife up, puts it on the table, and, like, goes to bed, like,
Yeah.
and you're like and it's severe, but it's just the way that they acted it
Mhm.
was funny, yeah.
Totally. What'd you rate the movie?
I gave it a 7? Did I do a 7? Yeah,
Did.
I did, I gave it a 7. That
She
feels
did.
like mhm.
She's not sure, but she did.
I did. I gave it a 7. Um, I thought it was really clever filmmaking, and I thought that I think the acting is tremendous, and I thought they made this very, like, like, a kind of a horrendous story really fun to watch, and so that's a lot of
Mhm.
accomplishments in one, run for sure. Like, I would for sure watch it again, I would recommend it, like, I think it's great, yeah,
For
7.
sure.
Would you rate it?
I rated it as 7 as well. I
Mhm.
think that not only is the story intriguing, the way that they told the story was good, but also the acting on top of that.
Mm.
One, because the story was so public
Mhm.
that it had to be like, there was elements of it, obviously, that were different and, like, played into it, but the Tanya character had to be so Tanya
Mhm.
that, like, or it wouldn't have landed.
Yeah, I
So I
agree.
think, like, a 7 for the movie was super good.
Yeah. Where do you think they could have done better?
Um, I don't think that they could.
Yeah.
I think that they across the board, the story, the way it was told, the acting, good across
Yeah.
the board.
Yeah,
I do wanna say that you did rate Moneyball higher than this movie,
I did.
and the acting in this movie is significantly
Moneyball is still better. Okay.
better. I said what I said.
If you are watching on a broadcast channel, you can keep watching. We'll be moving into our next theme for the next episode. And if you are on podcasts, you can find us on Apple and Spotify. And we're also on social media.
Yes, at
Mhm.
Cade and Kit. All right, bye, guys.